Let's talk about complaining. I know a lot of people are negative and all they do is complain. And that's not good for your body. It's not good for your relationship. And first of all, do you want to work for somebody who's always complaining or blaming someone else?
No, I don't.
No, it's a bad leader. So you want to be around positive people. And the more you grow in your career, it's amazing how these people come in your life, people that you're spiritual with, people that have the same mindsets. Instead of like trying to do everything yourself, you'll find out in the long run that you'll make the most money when you collaborate.
I agree. I think everything's just a team thing. Even
Yeah.
at being a real estate agent, I think you can only do so much by yourself. Really, from my experiences, you really only can handle about 3 to 4 deals at a time.
Yeah.
When you're by yourself. It's always about systems, and there has to be people in those systems, whether you're the face of a corporation or a business, but there has to be some sort of people operating, which is, again, team. I love working with athletes and military people specifically because of that, because they're already familiar to that atmosphere. Yeah. So it's easier to then get somebody in and work with them who's already super based on teams and being a part of a team and collaborating for the greater purpose. So, I mean, I know you said you're from New York. So was it just the landscaping company you had that you had to sell? Because I could have sworn you just said you sold multiple businesses when you moved down here. I'd like to ask, what were those businesses that you got into? Because obviously the landscaping was the first one that you did. What was the second and third business that you were in?
So I did landscaping, then I got into snow plowing, and they're both seasonal. And snow plowing is actually very lucrative. I had one of the largest snow plowing companies in Western New York. And I thought to myself, how do I keep my staff busy all year? So I got into house flipping. I bought investment properties, and then I decided to Grant Cardone in 2017. He's like, go big, think big. So I'm like, okay, so let me sell all my properties, raise cash. And I think it was 2019 by the time I liquidated everything I had. And I was ready to go. I was ready to make some moves. I saw the market slightly correcting. I did not see COVID coming. So when COVID hit, I just, everything doubled in price. But, with things that happen also come opportunity. So what happened was I decided to make the move to Florida. And I had an opportunity to buy a marina, and it was brought to me in 2020 in January. And when COVID hit, I couldn't even get the deal done. Banks didn't want to talk to me, doing PPP loans. I'm trying to keep business afloat. And we closed July 4th. And the way it works with the marinas is you get all your boat rent money in January. So we actually purchased that marina with no money that came out of the slip rent. And the bank gave us a check back for 60 grand.
60 grand
at closing.
So you got paid to buy a marina.
I got paid to buy a marina.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Timing, right? Yeah. So I thought that I lost out, but again, another opportunity presents itself.
Wow. So it's all about, again, we all go through ups and downs, right? But there is always opportunity in everything. You just got to know how to find and look for it.
Every market.
And I think the negative thing, right? When you're negative and you're going from a standpoint, oh my gosh, this thing fell through, you're not in a space to recognize the opportunity. So what turned out to where you thought, oh my God, when nobody's willing to give me the financing, somehow you ended up getting paid $60,000 to buy a property and I'm sure, like, so when you purchased a property, did you have to do any sort of renovations or turning around of the business? I'm not too sure how marinas operate.
Yeah. So actually, when COVID hit, they were worried about marinas. They were worried about contractors. And guess who benefited the most? People wanted to be outside. So they'd buy boats. They buy campers. So we went to, I think it was a 400 boat waiting list in a hurry. We actually went to the townships and we got approved for a 50 boat slip expansion. But unfortunately, that was a partnership that didn't work out. And I decided to make an offer to my partner and I left. And that was the domino that fell to get me to Florida.
Okay.
Yeah.
You said two things that kind of resonated with me. One, partnerships. Because I've been in multiple of those and a lot of them didn't work out for me. So being that you're a successful businessman and you've done a lot in your life already. So if I were to ask you, how do I spot a good partner versus a bad partner? What are the traits and things that I should be looking for to be able to make a proper judgment as far as who I go into business with?
So I always like to ask somebody, if we're going to do business together, how do you see this deal working? And I want them to tell me. And when they give me how they see it working, I can see what their mentality is. Because in a partnership, you really want to make sure that you have your partner's needs ahead of yours. Very important that you work together and you're on the same team. You're going to have disagreements, but those disagreements are done in closed, not in public. Your job is not to make your partner look bad. And everybody has a pattern. If people are late consistently, I trust you to be late. If you're dishonest, I trust you to be dishonest. So I can qualify someone pretty quick. And this goes right down to your relationships. How do you treat your mother? How do you treat your wife? Do you cheat on your wife? If you're going to cheat on your wife, you're not going to you're probably going to cheat on me in business,
Sure,
steal
I mean,
money and whatever.
yeah.
All those are all things you got to look at.
I often think, and I'm pretty sure it's a fact that, well, let me go back. So when I look at a and I'm looking to see their character and how they are as a person, because people can put up a front.
Yeah.
I think children, it's harder to convince kids to lie, and it's even
Right.
harder to train them how to lie because they're innocent. So whenever I'm looking at a man and I'm looking at whether it's business or just friends, becoming friends and you're developing a
Yep.
relationship with somebody, I'm going to always wait for the opportunity to see how they are with their families.
Yeah.
And see how their children are treating them, how their wife is treating them. And that tells me a whole lot about a person. And obviously a partnership is pretty much like a marriage, like a legal marriage.
Absolutely.
So if you're willing to do certain things to your family, your children, your wife, you who is not related to them is fair game. Like
Yeah.
they'll probably do you worse. So I always look at that or at least wait for the opportunity to present itself. Because not everybody you're going to go into business with has families and stuff like that. But it's a good starting basis for me to, okay, if I want to see your character, I need to look at your children. Because you could lie and you could also be excited. It might not even be lying. You could just be excited.
Yeah.
You're in something new. So you're going to put it on the front until you get to settle.
Yeah.
Just like when you met your wife or your girlfriend at the time, like everything's all good and gooey and all happy with at the first. And then it's really as time settles down and you start getting comfortable, you get to see the flaws that are really in people. And that's the period of time that you need to wait for before, I would say, even getting married and also going into a partnership with somebody.
There's other sides to it too. Like usually if you partner with somebody, they have other businesses. Because I'm not going to partner with somebody that never owned a business. You got to have experience under your belt. But a real good way to tell if they're going to be good partners, how do they treat their staff? If they belittle them, if they run them on their bus, if the owner doesn't take accountability, there's clues everywhere.
And there's always...
So it's just like a partnership is like hiring somebody. Hire slow, fire fast. Like that partnership I was in. Now, he didn't disclose that those boat slips were approved. I knew. He didn't want to raise the boat rents. Why would that be? It goes up in value. He wanted everything for himself, and I tried everything to make it work. And I left millions of dollars on the table. Now, I made money, get me wrong, but it's okay to lose money occasionally, go where you're supposed to be. So, yeah, and I know some people get caught. I got this much into it. I'm not losing money. Well, you're losing time. Time is worth more than money.
Absolutely. I mean, it's the one thing we don't get back. You just said Elon Musk went bankrupt multiple times.
Yeah.
So he's lost a bunch of money, made a bunch of money. But every second that dwindles down away from you, you never get that back.
Yeah.
Which is why I try to be super respectful of people's time, because to me, the greatest gift I can give somebody as well is just my time, because I'm also super busy. I think the whole thing of the rat race, if you want to call it, is like fighting to get your freedom, like the time freedom to be able to make whatever decision you want to make and not be on somebody else's time. Is like you're fighting to get the time back. So I always try to be super respectful of people's time. But in owning up to any failed relationships, there's always going to be blame on both sides.
Of course.
Same thing marriages, right? So it's like,
yeah,
I agree with you I never thought about, like, okay, if you're going to go into partnership, see how people treat their employees. I always do look at not even business partners, but people and how they treat like waiters and waitresses. That behavior of like putting people down is just something that's like unacceptable to me. I don't want to be friends with you or anything associated if you like are in the business of putting others down because of whatever successes or stuff that you have. You feel like you're above somebody else. So I agree. So going back to mentorship, right? So you have a little brother, you would call it, that you're mentoring. So for young people that are, let's say, the same age as him, how do you think they should go about finding real mentorship? Because I know that's something I struggled really heavy with. I have many, many mentors, but how do you go about finding the right mentor for you?
Yeah. If you're in business or trying to start a business, get into business group and you try to find somebody who's doing what you're already doing. And I'd want to make sure that you don't make that person that you're trying to be your mentor, that you're trying to take something from them. Don't be transactional. Ask them how they can help you. And in a conversation, talk about them. Everybody wants to talk about themselves.
Right. Yeah.
Where are you from? How did you start your business? Be a good listener. Ask questions. And if you get an opportunity to work for free, do it. I mean, I'd rather take $100 a week for the first year to make $6,000 a week next year. Nobody wants to give up their time. Right? They're like, I should get paid for everything I do. But time's the most valuable commodity, especially somebody who's going to take their time to mentor you. So you can't give them much value monetarily, but maybe you can give them your time.
Helping and bringing value to where they need it.
And not only that, but if someone is mentoring you and they're reaching out to you, answer their questions and respond. I know people get mentored, they don't respond back. And why would I put, I'm answering 10, you answer my questions, I answer yours. You show up, I show up. Yeah, it's reciprocal.
As you say that, I think that goes in line to maybe a little bit in a partnership as well, because I
Right.
feel like a lot of times I'm like a super hyper focused. Like I like to get focused.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because me and my wife was talking about like the multitasking. I know women think they're like super great multitaskers, but I'm like, are you really multitasking? It was not until we read a book called The One Thing. It was written by Gary Keller, where he specifically said in the book, he's like, there's no such thing as multitasking.
Okay.
You're deviating your attention away from whatever you're doing at the time. And like now, the quality of it is not going to be as good if you were just focused on what you were doing.
Yeah.
Versus you like diversifying your attention to multiple different things. And it's like, oh, wow. I'm like, yeah, wow. She always gets on me because if I'm focused on editing or doing something or researching property, like she'll be talking to me and I'm like, yeah. And then I completely forget. I don't even know what she's saying. I'm like, you can't talk to me while I'm trying to work or do something. I can. Why can't you do what I can? Well, I'm not you. And you're not doing it either because you're just diversifying your attention to different things. So I think it's hilarious that you say that because when I was looking to hire agents, I'm a real estate agent and we own the Germinal group. In 2023, which was like one of the biggest years of my life as far as like growth and change, probably the hardest year I've ever faced in my life, but I've grown so much from it. We're at a point where we're trying to grow the business and grow the team. And we actually went out and hired friends to work as agents with us. And I don't like using the word like hire. It just feels weird.
Yeah.
I like to say more like partner because we're all just partnering with these people. We have common goals and your vision is big enough to where their vision can fit inside of what you're trying to do. I went out and worked with friends and people are attracted to how hard I work. So they're looking to supplement I would say the lack of wanting to work as hard as I'm like putting the time and effort that I'm trying to put into something. And maybe because they're bringing, let's say, their time or maybe some capital, they're attracted to it. But I feel like when you're in a business, we're all in the same thing. We have different strengths and weaknesses, but I feel like we have to be have the same intensity for the goal that we're
But nothing's
for.